Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, Raila Odinga, through his lawyer Paul Mwangi, wrote a letter to ICC. That letter targeted a specific individual, Josephat Kome. And today, Rigathi Gachagua, in his own wisdom or lack of it, has decided to respond to Raila Odinga over the issue of the ICC. And I paid very close attention to Rigathi Gachagua's response on the matter. I can assure you that response has shocked me. And the entire country should actually be worried about the kind of leadership to expect from Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is suggesting a few things. Number one, that the letter which Azimio wrote to ICC is purely intended to intimidate the IG of police, Josephat Kome. And I ask myself, why should Azimio go that far just to intimidate Josephat Kome? Number two, he's also saying that the IG is actually doing a very good job. You see, the job of going to raid Uhuru Kenyatta's farm is a very good job according to Rigathi Gachagua. The job of going to, was it Meru, and the police eliminating that young man is a good job according to Rigathi Gachagua. Cases of Kome making pronouncements before Kenyans that the police who lost his life in Kisumu was actually as a result of the demonstrators instead of the police. Shocking. So in this video, I want us to try and look at this particular response. And let me just play a bit of Rigathi Gachagua's statement, just a bit of it before we proceed. Let me just get. Okay.
Bora msiharibu mali ya Wakenya. Bora msitume watu kuiba mali ya Wakenya. Na mimi naona they are trying to intimidate the Inspector General of Police, Josephat Kome.
Now, the truth of the matter is that Kenya Kwanza tried so hard to make Azimio rallies and demonstrations violent. Shockingly, all evidence proved that Azimio rallies were never violent at any given point. Now listen in.
I want to assure the IG, continue doing your work. You are a very professional IG doing your work professionally.
The IG of police, the current IG of police, and professionalism, for me, are parallel. Because this guy is just talking and speaking, talking too much. If I were him, I'd lower my voice a bit on certain issues. Because Hussein Ali, who was a decent police boss, found himself in a mess. But this guy has successfully managed to allow Azimio collect evidence from him because he speaks. You know, sometimes silence is a good defense. He's been speaking. Listening.
All you did is to protect life and property. Had they not come to the streets, there would have been no issue between the police and the demonstrators.
Demonstrations the world over, and in Kenya in particular, is constitutional. So you can't criminalize people for going to the streets. That today, if Azimio want to go to the street, then they should not be going. While we saw Kenyans demonstrating from Nyamakima, nobody bothered with them. Azimio rallies have always been successful and peaceful until the point police breaks them up. If you take the last rally which they broke up, it was so successful, peaceful, very peaceful. In fact, Kenyans along the roads were just joining. Listen in, because I want us to do analysis about this.
So let them keep their people at home. Then there will be no problem with the police. In fact, the people who should be taken to ICC are those Azimio characters who have destroyed life, property belonging to the people of Kenya. So I want to assure the IG of Kenya that the government of President William Ruto will protect you fully, and you should not be intimidated. You should not be harassed by anybody. You are doing a good job, and you should continue doing your job to protect life and property.
My advice to Josephat Kome, when the rubber hit the road, it will be individual responsibility. My advice to him would be, please stick and operate within the laws.
And IG, if they come back to the streets, do your job. Protect life and property in accordance with the laws of Kenya and the Constitution.
Now, that's our Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. For those who followed these demonstrations, especially the first day, you saw Azimio senators who were just walking from the offices to KICC, being tear gassed. They did absolutely nothing. But what is the implication of Rigathi Gachagua's statement? Number one, in my view, is that Rigathi Gachagua, and I know he is a DO probably, is trying to criminalize demonstrations. And that's something I know for sure cannot happen. For Kenyans to get the constitution, the current constitution, there are people who lost their lives. And I'm sure 100% that even you and me might not be willing, but there are Kenyans who are willing to pay the ultimate price to protect the constitution. Raila Odinga, I remember so well before the beginning of these rallies, offered himself that I'm willing to be sacrificed. So many Kenyans are going to go that route because there's no way you can criminalize demonstrations. That you tell Kenyans, you see, normally what's supposed to happen is that if you want to demonstrate, you notify the police. What the police needs to do is that they need to agree with you that this is how you are going to do it. Then you are going to give you the police who will be leading you. In Kenya, you go to the police to seek for that right. What they do, they go and call for a press conference because they hide. They go and call for a press conference and tell you that your rally is banned. Anything which is banned always give birth to resistance. So people resist. I remember the other day when the Sifuna went and they said, okay, we are not going to grant you, or you never notified us. Sifuna said that the next time they'll be going for the demonstrations, they will not be seeking any authority from the police, because however much they do that, it doesn't count. So that's number one. Number two, the fact that Rigathi Gachagua is telling Kome that the government will protect him fully. What does that mean? It means they will do everything to protect him. Everything simply means in terms of ICC, because once the process is taken and they meet the threshold, the process will begin. Kome will be identified. If he'll be found to be culpable, the process will kick off. So the only way to protect a suspect in ICC is to make them disappear, eliminating them one by one. That is what saved Ruto. All ICC witnesses were eliminated. That's what probably saved Uhuru Kenyatta and others from ICC. Are Kenyans willing to go that route again? I'm not so sure. So that's the other implication. The third implication is that the country is now discussing ICC, which means ICC is going to be made a political tool for 2022. In 2013, William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta used ICC successfully to rally their supporters? Can Raila Odinga now use this ICC to rally their supporters? Or will William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua do the opposite? So the fact is, now we have introduced ICC into our politics again. The other implication is that this response by Rigathi Gachagua is actually going to escalate the tension we are witnessing in the country. What is going to happen tomorrow is that Azimio are going to call for a press conference to respond to him, or probably they are going to release more information about what they know. Some of those information, because they are political, will generate more heat in the country. And lastly, it will have great impact on Kome. Kome will either try and think through all these things, and maybe if he feels it's right, he will go ahead. If he thinks it was overboard, he will reduce the way he's been operating. Because there is the case of a gentleman called Paul Gisheru. I want to challenge anybody and everybody to refer to the case of Paul Gisheru in this country. It's a case which we have for people like Josephat Kome and a gentleman called Rigathi Gachagua. They can go for some lessons from Joshua Arap Sang. Thank you guys. Until tomorrow, I will be in Siaya. Maybe we can have tea in the morning with one or two people from Siaya. Until that time, bye-bye.